And good evening, everyone. Colin here. I wanted to do a quick, not too in-depth tutorial for the Majestic Dash 8 Q400. It's a lovely aircraft to fly. It's one of the only things that keep me coming back to FS10, besides PMDG. But otherwise, you can usually see me on X-Plane flying the IXEG. Also like flying the Airbus, and we're going to be adding more aircraft eventually to our pool since we haven't been flying X-Plane 11 very long. But a few weeks ago, I rewatched. I had done this before when I was really heavily into FS10, but I went ahead and back and rewatched and got all, caught up and everything again, and wanted to kind of dust off the old flight yoga, so to speak. So I had rewatched the Airline to Sims tutorial videos on the Majestic 8 Dash 8 Q400, and they have 10 very awesome videos. If you haven't seen them, the only hard part I had about the videos is they talk really fast and they move really fast. So you end up doing a lot of stopping and going back and redoing, and I've been flying this plane for quite a few years now, and even then it was hard to keep up with them. So with any tutorial video, you kind of want to go a little slower, take your time, and kind of go at a pace that allows other people to follow. If you rush through and do it as fast as you can in a tutorial video, you're gonna lose people. And that was the only gripe I had about Airline to Sim, was they move really fast. They do a little bit of some of the procedures, that don't really I don't want to say they don't go really in depth, but they do kind of skip, let's say they're doing step 1 through 5. Sometimes they'll skip 2 and 3 and go straight to 4. So you've kind of got to figure it out on your own, kind of what's going on. Granted, they did use first officer to do the tutorial. So unfortunately, the first officer was trying to do the captain's job while kind of filling you in on more of what the first officer does. So it was a little tough to get through. Great videos nonetheless. They're awesome. You will learn a ton about the Dash 8. I mean, I learned so much about the Dash 8, about the systems, the order in which to start everything up. I learned a lot about the FMC. You learn a lot even about just even the taxi, the takeoff, the procedures after departure. It's very, 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 very good. They're great videos. I don't want to knock them at all. But you will want to, what I want to say is you will want to set aside a lot of time. The videos range anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half. There are 10 videos that covers everything from pretty much just the flight deck safety checks, everything you go through, planning your flight, how to set up the weight and balance. It shows you a great site that we'll go through today that shows you how to set up your speeds. It's very in depth on the before start, the after start, the taxi, your lineup after takeoff, climb, descent. It really goes through everything. There are 10 really awesome videos, but definitely set aside at least 2 to 4 hours on a good day that you got off, in a morning or an afternoon or even an evening, and go through them. Airline to Sim, they're great videos, but I wanted to do just a quick short flight. We're going to be taking out of Brest, France, and heading over to Paris, Orly. I live in America. I live in California. I don't do a lot of flying over in Europe, but I absolutely love the scenery. It's great, and I do have Ground Environment Extreme installed on here, so the scenery should be a little bit better as well. It won't be default. I use the default airports as well. I do have Brest that I downloaded from AvSim, and then Paris is actually a pairware from Aerosoft. So give me a quick second here. I do have a couple things I want to click on, and then we will get this thing going. Okay, I think we just about got it figured out. I'm still learning about Twitch, so it's one step at a time. So we're going to explain a little bit about everything today as far as the flight deck and the safety checks go. I'll show you in order, so to speak, about which everything's turned on. Like I said, Airline to Sim it's a video done by the creators of one of the creators of the the Dash 8 Q400 who worked heavily on the project, as well as a real world pilot who's a first officer. So he's playing the part of the captain, while the Dash 8 Q400 designer is playing the first officer. So the roles are a little intriguing, so to speak. Watching the first officer, kind of try and show you kind of what the captain does, even though he's not a captain in real life. But nonetheless, having that first officer kind of go through, a lot of what goes on into getting this aircraft into the air is absolutely amazing, and the videos are just phenomenal. You will learn so much watching those. So in a couple of seconds here, okay, we are good to go. Alrighty then. So I'm going to also upload this to my YouTube channel, which is also Dracolin. You can find it most easily under my previous name, which is actually Kevin1873. Either way, down below on the subscribe button will take you to my YouTube channel, where you can watch all of my game walkthroughs, as well as any of my other tutorial videos. I know I have an IXEG737 tutorial video on there. Yes, I know there's no sound. I did that on purpose. I just wanted to do a really in-depth tutorial of that aircraft, and I really didn't want anything to get into the way. I should have had the sounds on there, because we do have the immersive sound pack installed on that aircraft, as I do with the Dash 8. If my Dash 8 sounds a little different than yours, it's because I do have the immersive sound pack installed. I believe that you can pick up from Sim Market, and I will put those links in my YouTube channel in the comments below. But yes, if mine sounds a little different than yours, that's because, yes, I do have the immersive sound pack installed. Let's see here. I can also shoot a link to that. Yes, it's the immersive audio Majestic Dash 8 Q400 sound pack from Sim Market. I mean, for $10.70, euros, I mean, it's well worth it. Should actually put the should eventually put it on my channel as well, But let's see here. As I was saying before, I don't fly in Europe a lot, but thanks to Navigraph charts, it makes it all the more easier to do. Great tool. Where are you hiding? We need to move you up. Let's move you up. So this is the route we're going to be taking today. I pulled it straight from SimBrief. SimBrief, great website to help you with your pre-flight planning. But it looks like it's going to be basically, and forgive me if I botch these names, I am not French. I don't speak French. I've never even been to France. So forgive my enunciation of some of these. But the BETUV 6F to BETUV, we're going to do an airway for UN 491 to LGL. We'll take Alpha 34 to BOBSA, and then we'll do the BOBS 6W into Paris. So I wanted to get a little bit of everything. We're going to be doing a standard instrument departure. We're going to be joining an airway to a VOR to another airway, and then joining a standard terminal arrival into LFPO. So it's a little bit of everything. Should be able to follow along, but this will basically be the route we're taking today. I can go ahead and actually start loading up some charts. So we go to taxi. I want to have the airport, and we'll click this little button up here and we should pop up. There we go. So they've got low visibility procedures on here, starter procedure on departure, and before all movements, aircraft are required to contact the tower. At the earliest, before the scheduled engine starting time, pilots are responsible for ground collision avoidance. Okay. So maybe the tower's in a spot where you can't really see everybody all at once, I don't know. But they do have that set up. So let's go with the standard instrument departure here, and we're looking for the BETUV. Here we go, and they have everything pretty much right here all set up to go. So we're taking, it looks like, the BETUV 6F. And yeah, since we're taking off from runway 7 right, that'll take us right here. BETUV 6F. All the way to BETUV, okay. And then we can load that in there. We'll go to Paris Orly. And for the star, it's going to be the BOBS 6W. So here's BOBSA. I wonder if that's, yes, BOBS 6W. And we join it via BOBSA. BOBSA to Benar. Then to, oh man, Châteaudun. I'm going to guess is how you say that, Châteaudun. VOR 15.95. So we're going to load the standard terminal arrival. We know we're going to take runway 6 in. We're going to take an ILS, so ILS, it's going to be Cat 1. And then for the taxi, airport, there we go. So we come in on runway 6. Perfect. Alright, so we pretty much have our Navigraph charts set up for where we're going to go. Bum, 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 bum. And I also wanted to show you, actually we'll wait till we get to it. Alright. We will wait until we get there. So here we are in the cockpit of the Majestic A-Q400, 8-Q400. And as you can see, it is just a lovely aircraft, highly detailed. I don't have the Pro version, Should buy the Pro version. But for now it's just the standard. But it is an absolute beauty. Let me line up our little nose wheel there. So very simple. We'll go to the overhead. This is how it starts out. Okay, we have 4 main batteries, and we always start them from right to left. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and at the end when you shut them off, you do them in reverse order. 1, 2, 3, 4. So very simple. We're going to do battery master, main battery, auxiliary battery, and standby battery. And as you can see, everything has come on. Alright. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the light test on the APU control. Once we do the light test, we'll see the fuel valve open for the APU. So there's the green light. The light test has passed. And now we can do the fire test for the APU. And there we have it.
Bank angle.
Awesome. And we have the warning light on the caution panel, so that's good. So we turn it off there. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is start the APU. Alright, there we go. All we have to do is click Gen, and we get the on, and the next thing we want to do is main bus tie, and we want to verify that the engine intake doors are green and closed. So we're good there. You usually don't have to mess with any of the windshield heat. I always like to turn it on because for some reason, once we get up in the air, all the windows start fogging up really bad. So I kind of always like to just turn them on. Warm them up. Alright, coming over, flight data recorder. None of this is simulated in this version, so we don't really have to worry about doing like the ground test, so to speak. But you can if you want. The test OK and fail for the ELT isn't really simulated in this. Usually the little red light would come on, but I guess it does. There we go. And it's off, so we let go. Alright, let's do the AP fire test for the engines for the left. And we have the caution and warning on the overhead or the caution panel. Number 2. Good. Alright, we'll do the forward baggage. Yep, light illuminated. And now for the baggage aft, we'll do number 1. Alright. And number 2. And we're good there. I always like to add just a little bit of light, even during the daytime. It helps just to see just a little bit better in the cockpit. Alright, we don't really need bleed air on right now. If it's a really hot day and you're not going to be moving for a while and the passengers are going to be sitting back there, you could turn the bleed air on. It's quite noisy, as you can see. Not very attractive. Simulated quite well, of course. But in order for it not to annoy anybody here, let's go ahead and keep it off. Engine start goes to norm on both. We want to double check and make sure our cabin altitude is set for auto. And for now I'm going to set the landing altitude to 0. Alright. Position light comes on to let ground crew know that we do have power to the aircraft, that the battery is started. Emergency exit lights, of course, will go to arm. Fasten seatbelt signs will come on. Alright. You can test all the lights throughout. The advisories. And let's set it to cool. I don't live in France, so I don't know what the weather's like over there right now. I live in California and it's hot. I mean, it's horrible right now. So for standard, they usually say just to set them in the middle. Now, if I was sitting in San Diego right now, where it's 70 degrees, 325 days of the year, the middle would be just perfect. Where I'm at, I would definitely want them on cool. You know, because starting this week, it's going to be 90 degrees before it even gets to 10 a.m. So it's kind of miserable. All right, we want to make sure that the packs are on auto. Now, for the cabin duct, we can leave it on cabin duct. If you want to change it, you can. You can set it to cabin. Cabin duct is fine. And for now, we want to leave the bleeds on minimum. Resurf fan comes on. Bleeds do stay off. We don't have any external power, so this is off. And Gen 1 and 2 always basically stay on. You will never touch these switches during any part of the startup unless an emergency reason you needed to shut them off. We're only going to be using FMS1 today. So we only need to turn on number 1. We don't even need to worry about number 2. Now, if you want, you could use both. For this tutorial, I'm not going to, but typically you could use both if you want to, because there are important pages that you need throughout the flight, and you can keep your fill page up on number 2 while you have your route up on number 1, because you can cross-fill the flight plan from either or. You can cross-fill your flight plan from this to this one or this one to that one, either or. It's fully simulated. For this tutorial, we're only going to be using number 1. And since everything is going to be running through the FMC, through the computer, you want to set FMS1. And number 2, we will set to VOR2. This will control the primary flight display, the multifunction display, the brightness. This will show your distance, and this will show you the weather terrain, as you can set it brighter or not for the weather. Let's go down here. Alright, and for the radios, we set FMS. I don't really need number 2 on, but I'll turn it on anyway. Unfortunately, you cannot control these separately. It's not simulated in this one. Number 1 will control number 2. So you can't switch between VHF1 and VHF2. Unfortunately, it's all going to be under number 1. So now that we have everything turned on, turn our caution and warning off. So flight deck and safety checks. Very simple. We're just going to check to make sure the windshield wipers are off, which they are. Landing gear is down, 3 green. Brake set. Gust lock on. Fuel start valves are at cutoff. Flaps are all the way up and indicating 0. And nav is on that. So we're good there. So batteries are on, and we're checking the batteries. We want to check the load, and we want to check the temperature, and we want to make sure they're anywhere between 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. The load is good. The bus volts are around 25 to 30, so we're good there. APU is 0.96, so we're perfect on that, so that's good. Make sure the main bus tie is tied, which it is. DC external power or APU is on. We do have APU on and running, and we can verify with the electrical. Yes. So battery chips checked, bus voltage checked. Landing gear lights and pins. So yes, landing gear is down in 3 green. We don't really have pins because this is just simulation. We want to check engine intake doors. Good. The alt gear door inhibit switch, which is right here. We want to make sure that it's okay. The door is closed. Fire and smoke detection, we've already tested APU. We tested engine 1 and 2, forward and aft baggage. Bleed air 1 and 2 are off, confirmed. APU bleeds right now is as required. Like I said, I don't want to bother you guys with that loud sound, so we're going to keep it off. Recirc fan is on and checked. Pressurization is set and checked. We're going to leave it at 0. The AC packs are checked and running auto. Emergency lights are armed. Alright, field transfer and quantity. For the field transfer and quantity button is right here. We want to make sure that it's in the off position. Transfer to 1, transfer to 2 is off. And the quantity is not set yet. That's something we're going to do whenever we start setting up for the FMS. We want to check parking brake pressure. It's about 3,000 psi. Anywhere between 2,800 and 3,000 is good, which we are. Parking brake pressure. You have your standby. We have standby hydraulic and PTU pressures 1, 2, and 3 is standby. And then we check our hydraulic quantity, and they are good. And we want to make sure that the power and condition levers are disk, which it is. And the condition levers here are at fuel off, which they are. No steering, which if I move this out of the way, is right here. If you pull it towards you, it's off. If you push it towards you, it's on. So you want to make sure it's pulled towards you. And we will start setting up for the FMS. Bum, 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 bum. Just kind of want to move this up. Set that up. Okay. We can hit accept. And flight plan. And before we start planning the flight, let's do a quick run through of how to set up our weight and balance for the Dash 8 Q400. I won't go too in depth because I could literally spend an hour on it alone. Like I said, if you want a more in-depth view on that, I could do another video, of course, or you can always watch the Airline to Sim tutorial videos, and they will give you a great detail. The numbers I'll give you and what I'll show you will help you set up the Dash 8 Q400 anytime you want to fly it. So let me get the window up. Let me see if I can get it to load on OBS so that way you can see it. Let's see here if I can add. Looks like it might work. Ha! There we go. Perfect. Let's see. I will get it out of the way, don't worry, folks. Alright, so that looks like a good spot for it. Right? Okay, very simple. Now, we'll go over it briefly. All right, perfect. That's good. Get this out of the way. Now, the Dash 8 Q400 is extremely nose heavy. It is where most of all of the weight is in the aircraft because of all of the weight from the cockpit and the wiring and everything that's installed in the aircraft. This sucker is not extremely nose heavy, but it's predominantly nose heavy. So what I'm going to show you is I like to carry 50 passengers, and we're going to set them up in a situation to where it's going to set up the best what's called a mean aerodynamic chord for the aircraft. Now for the Majestic Dash 8, you want to keep the mean aerodynamic chord, which is right here. This is our mean aerodynamic chord. And you want to keep it anywhere from 30 to 36%. 30% is your best friend. That is absolutely your best friend. So usually what I like to do is I like to load a little bit of baggage in the back. I put about 1,433 pounds in the back. And then I'll start setting up passengers. Now it's set up on here as OA, OB, OC, and OD. So, and that's exactly what you're seeing here. And it'll show you the max that you can have in each section. So I'll put 8 in the front, and in the front middle I like to do 14, and the middle back we'll do 19, and then I like to do 9. Now you can carry more passengers if you want, and you can just adjust it accordingly. That's fine. Now as far as our mass goes, I like to change this number. I do everything as far as weights go in pounds. So for if you're doing pounds, it's going to be 39683, and you're going to change your DOI to 8. Very simple. 80.0 to be exact. Now, if you're using kilograms, no problem. Your DOM is going to be 18,000. So that's it. DOM's 18,000, DOA stays at 80. Now, as far as the trip fuel goes, let's see what our trip fuel is going to be. It's going to be 6,700 for this flight. So this is basically your block fuel for the takeoff fuel. And our trip fuel is basically going to be how much fuel that we need to get from our origin to our destination. And for me, it's going to be 2550. So once we get that in, we can hit calculate, and 30.8 is what it gives us. So that's spot on. That's exactly what you want. You can shovel this around a little bit if you want to get rid of the 0.8, but around 30%, 30 to 36% is your best friend. So 30.8 is not a problem. So then what we're going to do is send this data to our flight sim. And what happens is it pauses the flight simulator. So I'll just unpause. And for some reason, for me, I don't know why, but it doesn't like to always send the correct number. It works 9 times out of 10. So I have to go back, calculate, and send a flight sim. And there it goes, 3350. And we'll just unpause. And so now basically that's it for the fuel, or I'm sorry, for the weight and balance of the aircraft. It's not extremely difficult. It's very easy to do. This is the way I like to do it in order to get 30.8. Sometimes I get around 30.3 depending on if I want to carry more or less passengers or whatnot, but you can play around with this. If you're going to add maybe a little bit, if you're going to add a couple more passengers, maybe you want to carry 60, you can add a little bit more here, and you can add a little bit more here, and just add a little bit more weight to your aft. Just, so don't make it too difficult on yourself. If you want to carry more passengers, if you want to carry less, then subtract from the front here, from OA and OB, and subtract a little bit of aft weight. If you're looking to get the mean aerodynamic chord percent around 30 to 36%. But anywhere between 30 to 36 is fine, and they're all lined up here. So this is going to be our takeoff weight right here. It's going to be our, our zero fuel weight, basically. And we definitely need this number right here. So 57163, make sure you save this number. Do not lose it. We are going to need this later on. So we're done with you for now. Let's go to our flight plan. And I'm going to go as slow as I can here as well, because I've only recently started getting back into flying this aircraft. So I'm still learning it yet again, how awesome this little flight computer is. Alright, let's see here. Let me start this. And if you guys have any questions whatsoever as I'm going along, please let me know. I will do my best to answer them. I'm a rowboat pilot. I have a single and multi-engine commercial and instrument, as well as my complex rating and high performance rating. But I have never flown a Dash 8 Q400 in my life, not in real life. So if I can't find the answer, or I'm sorry, if I don't know the answer, I will try my best to find the answer. Okay, let me get this up here. So we are going to be out of Brest, France. So LFRB, and we hit enter once. And you can come up here and hit accept, but it's easier just to hit enter again. So just enter twice. 1, 2, and there it is. And let's see here. How do I want to do this? There's different ways that you can actually do this. So I think what I'll do is actually just put in our arrival next. So LFPO. Hit enter once, twice, and there we go. Alright. And basically all we need to do is go to menu. We go to depart. We're going to be taking off at 07 right. So this is where we're a little different than any of you that are used to flying your Airbuses, your Boeings, you know, almost anything else. Unfortunately, you're not, and you're going to have to get used to this, you're not going to put in 07 right. What you're going to do is you're going to put the select number. So for 07 right, it's number 2. So for runway, we'll do number 2. We hit enter once. And we're taking the BETUV 6F, and that's number 1, so we do number 1, enter, do enter again, and let's see, and it takes us all the way to, let me make sure that's correct. Yes, RB004, Soman, BETUV, and then that's perfect. Alright, so now we have a no link here, which is great. So we'll click our we'll go to list. Yes, I wanted to make sure I had that right before I did this. So, okay. So, let me see here. I should probably, so this way you guys can see the route. Let's just make it easier. Give me 20 seconds here. There we go. So this way you guys can see the route I'm taking here. If anybody's actually going to want to follow along on this one. Alright. So let me go back to flight plan. Alright. And we have it set up all the way to BETUV, which is great. That's exactly where we want it to go. And then as you can see, our next waypoint, so to speak, is actually going to be an airway, UN 491. So we're going to click on this no link here. We're going to go to list. And now we're going to go to airway. So line select to right. And already there it is for us, UN 491. Great, we don't have to go looking for it or wonder if it's right or, you know, stick in the number and tell us, oh, I'm sorry, we couldn't find that for you. So it's simple. Once again, we'll hit 1, airway number 1, enter. And now it wants to know where we're going. So it's going to be UN 491 to LGL. So all we got to do is look for LGL, and it's number 10. So we do 1, there we go, 1, 0, enter. And then it sets it in there for us all the way. So BETUV, it's going to follow UN 461 all the way to LGL. So then all we got to do is click on our no link again. There we go, there's LGL. We'll click our no link again. And as you can see, Alpha 34 is next. So we go to list, airway, there's Alpha 34, 1, enter. And we're taking it to BOBSA. So we'll do 5 and hit enter. And that's it. That's all we got to do. Now the only problem is if it does, we'll figure it out. But now that we're going to go and load up the standard instrument departure, it might put in BOBSA twice. It usually does, and we'll just have to delete one, and that's all. So all we got to do is go to menu and go to arrival. And we're going to be landing runway 6, and I believe that's number 2. Wow, that's kind of shady. The resolution is not that great in this FMC. So runway 6 will be number 2, so we do 2. And I just want to pull up the arrival real quick in Navigraph charts. Okay, 2. We hit enter. We're coming in via the BOBS 6W, number 6. Enter. We'll hit our approach. ILS 06, so number 1. Enter. And now it wants to know if we're going to do a transition. So as I'm looking at the approach chart, I'm not really seeing one from the southwest that I want to use. In fact, yeah, I'm not really seeing one that I'm particularly comfortable with. So I am just going to hit enter. But if you want to enter a transition for the arrival, you're more than welcome to. And all you got to do is look on the arrival chart on the ILS chart for the runway, find the transition that you want, select it via the number, enter it, and you're good to go. So I'm just going to hit enter. Now this no leak at the end, I'm going to save, because this will be part of the missed approach, I believe. So this one I want to delete. This one I want to delete. This one, all the other ones above, you basically want to get rid of. And there's quite a bit. It'll load in quite a bit usually. So there's BOBSA, and it only loaded in at once, so we're good. Keep an eye on it, because sometimes it will pop it in there twice on you. It'll pop in twice on random waypoints. So you want to keep an eye on it. So there's LFRB, RB004, Salmon, BETUV. There's UN 491 to LGL, Alpha 34 to BOBSA, Benar, CAD, SOTIP, Modelo, and then ILS for runway 6. Perfect. And I'll leave that no link in there, in case we do go missed approach. So, The other thing is usually number 2, you want to see it in purple. That's going to be your initial where are you? Let me just double check and pull up the SID. That way I'm not giving you misinformation, because it'll be depending on number 2 or number 3 where we need to head to. At 800, yes. Okay, so here we go. Let me read it off. BETUV 6W. Let me pull it up for you guys. We don't need this anymore. We're all done. What I want to do is look at this. Okay? BETUV 6F. 800 feet to RB004, Soman to BETUV. Perfect. So yes, I do want course 073 to be the first thing we pick up after we depart. That way it'll start pretty much setting up for everything else that we need to get to. So you'll want to see number 2 usually in purple. And the best way to do that is to go to nav. And from, so right now it has LFPO. So we want from to be our origin, and to, so we're going to click on to left. And I want it to be the 800 feet, so I'm going to select number 2. I'm going to hit enter and go back to flight plan, and there we go. Now it's set in exactly as I want it. There we go. And now we get our turn. So we get our, now it's set up. Otherwise you saw how it was just that straight line not going to anywhere. Now it actually matches our standard instrument departure. And I was wondering if nope. Hold on. There's got to be an easier way to do this. Control deep. There we go. Let me see if I wonder if I can resize it. Position, size. Because all I really want to see is the darn chart. I think that's something I'm going to have to play with. A little bit more one day, so that way you could see both. But anyway, as you can see on the navigation display, we go straight to 800 feet, and then we're going to be turning to reach RB004. So now it's not just that straight line anymore that would have taken us out to nowhere. We would have never been able to join the standard instrument departure. So that's what fixed that. You want to make sure that your initial waypoint after departure is highlighted in purple. And like I said, you just go to nav, you make sure your 2 is going to be that waypoint or transition, whatever it is, if you're doing an RNAV departure. So whatever waypoint or transition you need, that it's set up correctly under nav, and that fixed everything in the navigation display. So we're good. The only thing that we need to do next is actually get the fuel set up. There we go. Let's make this a little brighter. That way we can see it a little bit better. So very simple. We want to do fuel. There it is. Let's load this up there. And let's get our control panel back up here, because we're going to need some numbers here. All right. So all of these next numbers can all be taken from SimBrief. So fill to the alternate. Today is going to be 1815. See, our hold is going to be 569. And our extra is going to be actually I don't think it figured that out correctly. Let me just look something up here. So it's close. It's gonna be 394. And 1421. So fuel on board, actually what we want to do is click it. And we want to go by what's in tank 1. Right now it's 3315. So you want to put that in there. And 3350 for number 2. And we get that right here. And enter again. Alright. Pull some windows open here so I can get so I can see the same thing you guys are seeing. Alright. Now zero fuel weight is very simple. That's our number right here. 57163. 57163. And all we got to do is hit enter. It'll load in the gross weight for us, which is exactly what we're looking at. Perfect. Perfect. And that's it. That's all we got to do for the fuel. We load in our alternate, our hold time, our extra. It'll load our total reserve. We get our fuel on board for tank 1 and 2. We load the zero fuel weight in. Let me try a 50463. Let me try. Yeah, we had the right number. Alright, and that's it. We can go back to flight plan. We can close this window, that window, and we're going to leave the primary flight display up because this is where we're going to load up our B-speeds. Where did... There you are. Okay. I want to rename this. Rename monitor number 2. Okay. Because I want to be able to show you guys Monitor number 2 in a bit. First I want to get the weather. The wind's 350 at 6. Visibility's good. Fuel at 3,500. Broken at 7,800 feet. Temperature's 19. Dew point's 18. No precipitation is reported. Altimeter is 1011 or 2985. So let's do 2985 here. And we set it with this knob right here. We're going to pop this open. We're going to do 2985 as well. So that's good. And it looks like we should be somewhere around 325 feet. And it's roughly, yep, it's about right. So that's good, 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 good. And let's see, how do I want to do this? Let's go ahead and load. Let's go ahead and load the speeds first. Alright, and there's a really great website that's going to show us how to do that. I just need to write a number down here. Because all you need from the control panel now is basically that 0 fuel number, the 0 fuel weight number. That's all you need. If you write that down, you can go ahead and close out the control panel for the weight balance. Once you have everything else set up here to this point, and you get the 0 fuel number, 0 fuel weight number, we go ahead and close the control panel. We don't need it anymore. All right. So the other lovely website I want to show you is Sim, and it was designed specifically for the Majestic 8, the Majestic-8 Q400. And I want to load it up here so you all can see it as well. So here we go. Here we are. Sim. Basically, all you have to do is go to or Google orsm.com, create an account. It's free. Launch the app. It'll do it in your browser. And basically, you're going to go to, let's see here. Let me just. Okay, I want you guys to be able to see the same page in the beginning. This is what you're going to be looking at right here. So all you got to do is go to Performance. Alright, we'll go to Airport Search. Lima Foxtrot Romeo Bravo. It'll pull it up here. Pressed. We click on it. We click the runway, 7 right. We're going to be doing flaps 15 for takeoff. The condition list for the airport is dry, no rain. We click on Get Weather, and they're showing 2988, so maybe Active Sky Next is wrong. Oh, well, the weather just changed right now, so it probably hasn't been updated. Let me check. Yeah, it is 1012. Yep, so it did change just right now. So 2988. I will change that in here. In the aircraft real quick. Okay, so we're good. Alright. Active Sky is still just kind of, catching up. And here's where we want to put our takeoff weight in. 5, 7, 1, 6, 3. Alright. Calculate. And here we have V1, VR, V2, our flap retraction speed, and our V climb speed, and when we have an engine flame out. So when we take off, when we're climbing, one of the engines goes out. That's our V climb for single engine operation. So we want to double check and make sure everything else is right. Flap 15. We are at Lima Foxtrot Romeo Bravo. Takeoff gross weight 57,163 pounds. And it's going to be for 90% torque. Normal takeoff power. The runway is 3,100 meters, so that's plenty for us to take off. So there we go. So basically all we're going to do is take those numbers and we are going to lock them in by hitting select. Twist our little knob here up to 113. Our rotate speed is going to be the same as V1. Otherwise, V1 would be much higher than our rotate speed. So it's always going to be the same. Our V2 is going to be 114. Okay, and then we load our V-fry, which is the flap retraction, 125. And our V-climb for single engine operation is 148. And that's it, folks. That's all we got to set up for our speeds. Alright. And now we got to set up our MCP. And make sure the mode control panel is all set. So, very simple. We are going to change our nav source to FMS1. Because that's what we're using today. Everything is being done through FMS1. So for nav source, you can do VOR1, you can do ILS2, FMS2 if you want to do it over here. But we're doing FMS1. Everything's going to be done through the computer here. The radios are all going to be controlled by the FMS as well. We can still set them down here. That's fine. No problem. So FMS1 is set. We want to do heading. And we want to load our flight director. So the way to load the flight director is you just push this little button on the throttle. And there we go. And it'll change to go around. The next thing we want to do is set in our altitude. Let's look at the departure. Are there any altitude restrictions? The transition altitude is 5,000. It's RNAV1, GNS only. But there are no altitude restrictions, and we are not flying with ATC today, so it's going to be odd since we're flying east. So the one thing I learned in the Dash 8 Q400 is your optimum flying altitude, if permitted, is 24,000 and 25,000 feet. So if you're flying east, then 250. If you're flying west, 240, and that's it. If you're doing really short hops, you want to keep it between 18 and 19, 15 and 17. But as far as for fuel optimization goes, 24 and 25,000 are your magic numbers. So ours is going to be flight level 250 today, so we are going to change this little bad boy here to go up to 250. And we're going to hit altitude. If you do not hit altitude select and see altitude select, you will not hit your desired altitude. Okay? So anytime you change the altitude, you must also see altitude select. If you're descending and you change your altitude and you don't see altitude select, the aircraft will just keep descending. So anytime you change altitude, altitude select. Change altitude, altitude select. Every time. So this is exactly what you want to see towards the end of the setup here. You want to see heading select, you want to see go around lit up, and you want altitude select and the altitude selected here. Now, that's pretty much it. As far as the flight deck and safety checks goes, the last thing you do, takeoff and departure briefing completed, and then what we're going to do is re-enter our fuel. So just before your engine start, the last thing you want to do is reset up to make sure that this matches what you have on page 1 and feel on board. So 3290, enter, 3350, enter, and then back to flight plan, and we're going to balance the tanks after engine start on taxi. Alright, so that's it. Very simple. Flight deck safety checks, PNF is complete. Alright, so now we're going to do before start. And I'm going to check the trim. As long as we're on the white line, we're good. I like it right there. Perfect. We'll make sure the door and fuel lights are out. And the way to check that is, let's see if we can... Sorry. Doors. There we go. Are all green, so that means they're all closed. If you see any red, then you got a problem. Back to electric. There we go. Apologies. Passenger signs are on and checked on right here. Cabin reports received. Flight deck door is closed and locked. ACAL light's going to go to red. There we go. APU bleed is off and verified off. Didn't want to kill you guys with that awful sound. And the last thing we're going to check is the batteries and the bus volts, alright? So we want to see 26 volts or greater. So right around 26 for the volts is good. If you're doing a battery start of the engine with no ground power unit and no APU, you want to make sure your battery start voltage is greater than 22 volts. If not, you're not going to get an engine start. Now, the one thing I didn't mention to you is after you get your 4 batteries on, the next thing you want to do immediately is initiate ground power or APU. You only have about 15 minutes of battery life in this thing before it dies. So if your optimum goal is to turn this thing on and start an engine, you want to do it within the first 15 minutes and make sure you have bus volts of at least 22 or 22 volts or greater, or it is not going to happen. So that's pretty much it for the before start. We're ready to go. I don't know if I'm really going to mess around with doing a pushback. If you want to do a pushback, okay, data, services, and you can go pretty much, and this is where you select the GPU. If you're a GPU person, most European airline pilots are, that's where you do it. Data, services, GPU, and then you just want to make sure that you flip on your GPU start power button up here whenever that's initiated. But if you want to do your pushback, here is where it's done. You can just do start, and once you start doing the pushback, you can go left, you can go right, you can go end, and that'll tell you to initiate the parking brake, and you're all good to go. I think for this scenario, we're just going to make a nice little U-turn. So engine start, we are ready. It's very, very, very simple. Engine number 2 is to the right, and make sure your ignitions are set to normal. Alright, so flipper to the right, it'll say select, hit on, you'll get your beep, beep, beep. Once you get up to about 19, it doesn't matter, you can actually just start it now. What am I thinking? So condition lever goes up to feather. We're going to get a bunch of beeps. Let's pop this page up. Now what we're doing is we're looking at our inline turbine temperature. We want to make sure this sucker doesn't go above 400. So we want to make sure the inline turbine temperature is coming up. You want to make sure your oil pressure and your oil temperature are coming up and staying in the green. So we push our condition levers, or sorry, our throttles up a little bit. Because where they are now, I'm actually in reverse. Alright, so we're right at 400. Great. If you start seeing this thing go past 400, 450, 500, you got a hot start. You want to feather the condition lever immediately. So we've got a good start on number 2. Number 1, it's pretty much the same thing. Starter cutout is back to normal, so left for number 1. select. We'll get our beep. Condition lever 1 comes up to feather. And we're just watching again the airline line turbine temperature. Everything's good over here. Beep, beep, beep. Everything's in the green. So we're just monitoring number 2 as number 1's coming up. Making sure it doesn't travel past 400. And it looks like we're good. Oil pressure, oil temperature's in the green. Fuel flow's looking good. NH is looking good. Torque is looking good. So now we're going to do our after start checklist. So immediately after start, they want you to kill all external power and APU. So very simple. In the real world, what you would do is you click your generator button and you wait 60 seconds. I don't want to wait the full 60 seconds, so we'll just go ahead and turn it off. APU valve is closed. Main bus tie comes off. Gen 2 and Gen 1 come on. Engine intake doors go back to green. Check the electrics panel, making sure everything is still good. We got greater than 26 volts. APU is off. Temperatures are good, right around 30 degrees Celsius. Condition levers are going to come full max. There we go, full max. Auto feather right here, selected white. Fuel pumps are on, number 1. Number 2. Hydraulics is checked. Hydraulics is looking good. Oh, doesn't that sound awesome? That's like my favorite sound right there. Alright, flaps and speeds. Flaps 15. 1, 2, 3. Rudder check is going to be right here. Full travel, full right, full left. No steering is going to come on, so no steering, forward. Primary flight display, multifunction display, and engine display are normal. So what we're looking for here is heading select, go around, altitude select, V-speeds, altimeter, FMS 1. So that's good. Navigation display, we want to make sure that the standard instrument departure is loaded in correctly. All of our spoilers, rudder, and everything is checked. And engine display, everything is good. Alright, and we want to keep this around 7 torque at 7, so there we go. Alright, prop's good. Fuel flow's good. Inline turbine temperature is good. Oil and pressures and temperatures are good. Alright, bleeds on and minimum. Correct. De-icing will be checked, so let's go with... actually, apologies here. As we come over, we want to make sure anti-skid is on. And the pressure is actually on the co-pilot side for the de-icing pressure, and you want to make sure that it's around 1800 psi. Now we're about, we're about 1800, so we're good. So we check the pressure on the de-icing. It's okay. Anti-skid is on. And now the next thing we're going to do is ice protection, test, and set. So all we got to do is left click to test. The props are going to light up green. Green. And there we go. That's it. We'll change our heat to norm. Pilot side heat goes on. For some reason, the windows always fog up on me. So I turn these off just to keep them from fogging up. I'm also going to want to turn on the demist, so that way as we start climbing out and it gets colder, we don't get that fog. And the next thing we're going to do is transponder, and TCAST will come on. So right now it's in standby, and I'm just going to do a standard, you know, we'll just do, what do we, 1, 2, 0, 0. I'll hit it again to switch it, and just hold it down. There we go, on altitude, and that's it. Now it's on. And our LGL is going to be the first VOR that we're going to come to on our flight. It's not even until the end, right? Yeah. So for VOR, since VOR 1 is set up as FMS 1, we need to use number 2. So I'm going to put 115.0, and that'll load Legal? I am not French, and I apologize if I am messing that up. But Legal will be in number 2, and that'll pop up for us down here, because we got FMS 1 set up, and then we'll use VOR 2 for any other VORs. And I'll put LGL in there. So, perfect. So, transponder and TCAS is set. I can go ahead and turn on the weather if I want to, which is what I'll do now. On. And then we'll select the weather button here in the middle. And since we're done with pretty much the electrical, we can left click and set the primary the navigation display on the co-pilot side. So that way we're not just stuck looking at the electrics panel the whole time. And I think we're pretty much ready to go. As far as I can tell, everything is set up. That took a little while, a little longer than I thought it would. You know, I always say these are going to be quick tutorial videos, and then I start going all out. So, if you can give me about 35 seconds, I want to use the restroom real quick, so that way I'm not trying to do that after takeoff. I will be right back. we're set to go. I just need to check one more thing. Oh. Allergies aren't as bad today, thank goodness. Not as bad as they usually are. Where are you hiding? There you are. Okay. That's done. Save your ORSM page because you'll want to calculate your landing speed as well at the end of the flight. The SimBrief page you can use if you want to calculate your fuel time and distance as you go along. Otherwise, we're pretty much done with the SimBrief page. Refresh this page. That should be it. I do want to check one thing on the checklist. They don't have it on here, and I don't know why. But it's actually part of the after start checklist. Do they have it anywhere? I don't know why they don't. So if you want to make a little note, after the condition levers go full, auto feather comes on, fuel pumps come on, you want to turn your standby hydraulic pressure and your PTU pressure on. And that's gonna set your hydraulic pressure where it needs to be. I was looking at that right now and realizing that's not where it should be. So that's why. I need to get a better updated normal checklist. So it's yeah, auto feather comes on, fuel pump 1, fuel pump 2, standby hydraulic pressure, PTU control comes on. And number 3 we'll mess with during the taxi. It's crazy, but the taxi checklist you will do as you taxi. Alright, yes, we're good. ACARS is good. Everything else is good. We want to leave our spoilers on taxi. You can't see this under here, but the spoilers are on taxi. Anti-skid is on.
Glide slope.
Do our test.
Pull up. Terrain. Terrain. Pull up.
Alright. That's all good. Make sure our pitot-static isolation valve is green, which it is. Otherwise, normally you'd have... This kind of gets in the way. You know, it's cool to have there, but it's like, yeah, please boo. So it looks like we're ready to go. I don't have AI traffic on. Sorry, panning around so fast makes some of you sick, I know. Doesn't she just sound so awesome? Yeah, we'll make a left turn here. And that's our Air France thing for the Dash 8. We just got it. I haven't flown this livery yet. It She's an absolute beauty. Alright, now that we're ready to taxi, all we really have to do is throw our brakes off. In order to get rid of the elevator pressure, just forward and back. That's all you got to do on your joystick. My joystick's 20 years old, and that's why it squeaks. But I love it. I cannot give it up. I don't know what I'd do without it. It's gotten me through more than 20 years of flight simulation. Alright, so let's add a little bit of power, start getting this thing turned around here. Starting taxi. And one of the first things we're going to do on the taxi checklist is what you do in any airplane, is test the brakes. Alright, and brakes are good. Alright. While it's speeding up, taxi. Our takeoff warning test is good. If you start hearing beeps, you forgot something. Probably forgot your lights. Not your lights, but you probably forgot your flaps. We do need to turn taxi lights on. But if you hit your takeoff warning and you hear beep, 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 want to start looking for something. So no beeps, we're good. Takeoff power is going to be normal takeoff power or reduced power. We got normal takeoff power is at 90%. Flight instruments are all checked. I wonder if the altimeter is changed again. Nope. We're still at 29 or 88. Alright, now here's where we're going to test number 3 hydraulic pump and elevator. So let me get situated out here. And I'll kind of show you what's going to happen with our number 3 hydraulic pressure pump. So it looks like this is a back taxi airport. Anyway, okay, so pop the valve down, right click, left click, you'll see number 3 come up. Alright. You'll get the warning. Let's click it again. We close it. And what we're going to do is just go forward and back, forward and back, forward and back. And we're going to drop that pressure down. There we go. And now it's at 0. So that test is okay. Yaw damper is coming on. We have received clearances. Cabin is secured. And that's it for the taxi. Alright, so yes, nobody wants to do a 8-knot taxi, right? We'll start getting yelled at. The sounds on this aircraft is absolutely amazing. Now before we cross right here, we'd make sure we had clearance first. We check left, we check right. If we need to hold before the ILS bars in case somebody was landing, that's the hold short of the runway. We're all good, so let's crank her out here. Since we are on a runway though, we want to do our lineup test. So ACAL lights go to white. Landing lights come on. Pitot static and isolation valves will come on. Those are right here. 1, 2, 3. So now caution panel is black. Bleeds are as required. What's where we want them at. Bleeds are off. You always want them off on takeoff. Our AFCS modes are checked and verified. GA, heading, and altitude select. GA, heading, and altitude select. And double checking, caution panel is black. Caution panel is black. We'll continue to taxi. I like to set the distance to the minimum on takeoff. Let's just start to slow down a bit. Ah, it's 08, right. This airport on FS10 is from 2013, mind you. It was the latest one I could find. Come on, little buddy. That's it. We've done our lineup. We're good to go. Full power. Switch our spoilers to flight. And of course, if you don't do that, you won't get full power. Ah, she sounds awesome. Alright, rudder controls are coming in. There we go, just try to keep her lined up. Watching the speed. Oh, a lot of right rudder. There we go. Rotate. Whoa. A little bit of a crosswind. Alright, positive rate, gears coming up, just trying to trim her to, alright. There's 800. Just following the flight director. Flaps up. Alright, there we go. Takeoff. Very simple. Bleed 1 and 2. Come on. We'll go to normal. Taxi light comes off. PTU and standby hydraulic come off. Fuel pumps come off. Auto feather comes off. And we climb at 900. Go. Just following the flight director.
2500.
I'll pop these up so you guys can see them a little bit better. Yep, all you got to do is just keep following the flight director. Add trim as needed. Alright, after takeoff checklist, landing gear is up. Flaps are 0, bleeds are on normal, and climb power set. We went a little bit too far there. Alright, there's 5,000. I'm going to do autopilot. I'm going to do nav. Make sure altitude select is still good. And we're going to go 2992. And what I want to do is I want to climb at a certain speed. So I'm going to hit indicated airspeed, and I'm going to keep it at 165. That's the climb speed I like. So it's going to climb to 25,000 feet at 165. Let's go ahead and pop it out one. Doesn't she just sound lovely? So we double check. Bleed 1 and 2 are on. We're on norm. Lights are set. Vest and seatbelt sign can come off. As soon as we hit RB004, we're going to turn to Soman. Pop out our range just a little bit, and we're close to 10,000. There we go. It's going to start the right turn. 10,000. Lights come off. And as you can see, the autopilot is basically just following the flight director, holding LNAV, heading to Soman, set up under FMS1, which is perfect. And now the only thing we need to do is change our heading to match, just like you would in any other plane. So it's going to turn to line up with Soman. So that's kind of how I like to do it on the departure. If I'm flying in the States, usually I won't set the autopilot until 10,000. In Europe, I went ahead and set it at the transition level at 5,000. Just so I could change a few other things. But I like to climb at a speed. So I like to set the indicated airspeed at 165 and have it climb. So what it's basically the aircraft is going to do, because this aircraft does not have an auto throttle involved. So it's very simple. What the aircraft is going to do is pitch in order to maintain 165 knots. So it's going to hold a climb speed, a positive V speed, all the way up to 25,000 in order to maintain 165. Now as we get higher, of course, this number is going to come down. It's going to drop a little, just like it does in any other aircraft, in order to maintain the speed it wants. Because right now we're doing 900. Ooh, there we go, a little gust of wind, popped it. Our torque is set to 900, which is our climb power. As you can see, MCL, which is our max climb level. And everything else is good. The inline turbine temperature is good, oil pressure and oil temperatures are good, fuel flow is good and matching. So the other thing we can do is balance the tanks. Now, I want to balance the left and right tanks, so I'm going to start throwing fuel over onto the left side. So that way it'll ease up the controls a little bit. There we go. That should help out. Try to get it a little better. There we go. That's better. That'll help out the trim, help out the autopilot. And now I can pull up, see we're headed to Summit. That's good. We can check our fuel. This will show us what our fuel was at the departure. This will show us what we've used, how much we have on board, how much is required, and what our overhead will be once we land, and this is our reserves. It's skewed right now because we're climbing. Power's changing, we're climbing. Once you get up to your cruise level and you level out and you set your prop to your cruise speed at 850 and everything kind of levels out and all that, these numbers start becoming more accurate. So right now they're not very accurate in the climb. Not accurate at all. Well, I mean not at all, but they're not accurate in the climb. And it shows us 1 plus 24, so an hour and 24 minutes to Paris. That number will of course change once again once we get up to cruise and we're not doing 165 knots anymore. That's exactly why all of this is going to change. This is based on current settings, climbing, our power, our speed, our prop. So all of this information is going to change once we finally level off. But everything is looking good. Caution panel is still black. All of our switches and everything are set where we want them to be. We're just into that part of the flight where we're kind of just monitoring everything. Monitoring engine power, monitoring our flight path, monitoring the climb. Ground proximity warning system for landing flaps is going to be 30. Or TARA, which is good, doesn't matter, there's no traffic. So all we could do is wait. Of course, unless you guys have any questions. Haven't seen any questions. I mean, who does not love flying this aircraft? And it climbs really well too. I mean, we barely started our flying. You know, we're only a couple thousand feet away from our cruise. It's just a beautiful aircraft. It climbs well, it performs well. The great thing about this flight is we're actually going to be over the ocean for most of it. Not too far away from land. Not so far away that if we did even lose both engines, we could still glide safely if needed. Ah, why do you go all the way over there? And that little beep's letting us know we are 1,000 feet away from our intended altitude, flight level 250. Perfect. So we're just about to reach the cruise. So props are going to come back to 850. And then we're at the max cruise range. Speed will come up. Throttles will remain at full. This is where our numbers start to really make more sense. See? We're not an hour and 24 minutes away, we're 54 minutes away. These numbers will actually start stabilizing a little better. Just getting a screenshot set up here for the YouTube page. Well, like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to shout them out. This video will be up on YouTube. If you have any questions, just leave a question in the comment section below, and I will do my best to answer them. Alright, so that's done. We're well on our way, aren't we? Perfect. Save that. As a Photoshop. Save. Diggity. Come back to it later and finish it off, and it'll be ready for the channel. Let's just check. LNAV's good, altitude is good. Now, we're going to learn part 2, which is, well, how do we descend on the standard terminal arrival? Well, it's actually pretty simple. But I do want to double check and make sure reserves is 3600. We have an overhead once we get to LFPO. That's great. Previous, we've got 43 minutes, so not very long. And we're headed UN 471, I believe it was. Palo, Extras, Calabo, and then to La Gare. So, how do we set up our VNAV descent? Let me show you. Quite simple. We go to View Charts. Let me set my heading real quick. 095. Should have been doing that earlier. Let me pull up the arrival. Wish I could resize it, but it wants to do the full screen. Sorry. But anyway, let's see here. BOBSA 6W. So BOBSA 6E and 6W is BOBSA, Benar, Château-d'Un, I'm saying that right, Soltip, and Odillo from lower airspace, okay? So we need to be at Benar at 280 and 13,000 feet. So it's very simple. Let's go to VNAV, and we want to select 2. This is your from position, your to position, and the next position. So you always want to select the to position. From present position to, so we'll unselect 3 left, and I said Benar, Benar, so let's go back to, yes, Benar at 13,000, so I'm going to have to switch back and forth here. Apologies, alright? So, very simple, VNAV, and then as I was explaining, from, to, and next, okay? Let me change properties. We need to capture the mouse. I didn't have that on earlier. I hope that didn't confuse anybody. Okay, capture mouse. Here we go. So we got from present position to. So once you select VNAV, you want to select 2. Alright? And we want Banar. And Banar is number 6. So we do 6. We hit enter. And we don't need to worry about the speed because we can't do 280 anyway. But that's the max. So we hit enter one more time. It already has 13,000 in, luckily. If you needed a different value, you could always just add it in and hit enter. But we want 13,000, so enter. And we want to do 1,500. Enter. Now, a message is going to come up. VNav disconnect. That's fine. Don't worry about it. It'll take you back here. And now it's going to tell us our top of descent is at 90.4 nautical miles and 15 minutes. So at, is it 17? The time's not right because I'm not, it's currently 1944 right now. So at 200, well, 1959 Zulu, we're going to start descending. I don't have the time set correctly right now because I don't want it to be nighttime. I'm flying in Europe. I wanted it to be daytime, so you could see everything. But current time right now, Zulu time, is 1944. So at 1959 is where we're going to do our descent. Now, you can also do next, all right, which it's already set in. CAD is at 13,000. All right, so we go to next page. SOTIP, they want us below 13,000. Alright. And Odillo, they want us at 10,000. Right? Oh, 11,000. So, if they want us at SOTIP to be... all they want us to do is be below 13,000. Actually, they want us to be below 12,000. Let me double check though. No, they want us just below 13,000. That's all. And they want us at 11,000. At Udillo. So these are actually okay. Really. I mean, I guess I could do like 12. Oops. Sorry. No big deal. No, we could do that. And that's it for the VNav. It's very simple. VNav. Go to 2. Select which waypoint you need to be at. You can select your speeds, the altitude, and then you're pretty much set to go. And then you can do next to set up your other waypoints. And that's set up correct, 28.1. They want us 4,000. So we're all good to go. And I want to do 1,500, only because it's hard to slow this aircraft down a little. If you're doing 1,800, it's going to be hard to maintain that 220 knots, which is a good descent speed in the Dash 8. So you want to try to keep your descent speed about 220 knots. Not always possible, but 1,500 helps out with that. So I'd rather do the 1,500 than, you know, than the standard 1,800. If you're more comfortable with 1,800, you can do 1,800. I wonder how Flight Sim Expo is going. Fly Purdue is flying the Microsoft Flight Simulator X. Durka! He's, oh, so we got Durka in real life. He's at, I know he's at the Flight Sim Expo. Let's see if we can listen in. Sound quality is horrible. Oh, but he's up on there with, looks... You can't really tell, it's in 720p and the guy's sitting in the 5th row at an angle. So that looks like maybe Tyler up at the podium? No, it's hard to tell. At 720p,
I'm just wondering, as a new stream, somebody's going into sort of thing. So how do you build up a core viewer base and get to the number of
sounds like his allergies are as bad as mine.
We talked earlier about the education versus entertainment side. I feel like more towards the education side, except the occasion losing my tempo, which is quite entertaining. Yeah, how do you build up a viewer base and get so many viewers?
If you guys want to see how bad this quality is real quick.
And that's not just when people think of consistency, they think of a schedule, which is very difficult for people who are on a job or going through education themselves.
But that's Durka up there on the far left.
For me, not only the schedule, if you're on a schedule of once a week or something, that's fine. But it's also the quality of the content. It's making sure that your audio or video is in good state before you go live. Things still happen, technical issues happen.
But I don't recognize anybody else.
Good one as well. And it's just the consistency in how you are, how you approach your content creation. If you keep the consistency across the different things that you approach with it, then it will happen. And as Brent says, have fun. Don't worry about the numbers. If you're having fun, people who are watching you,
Interest.
200, chances are they will have fun as well. So if you're sat there and you're like, oh gosh, I've only got 2 viewers at the moment, that's instantly going to play subconsciously in your psyche. So just have fun, and over time it will naturally.
We're 9 minutes away from the descent, and I'll show you how to set that up.
Consistency is definitely one getting some schedule. Like if you're going to stream Friday, Saturday evenings, whatever it is, then just post that on your Twitch page and say this is my schedule and stick to it. You need to be consistent with your game as well. Like it's no good doing Bison on Friday night and then Ghost on Saturday night. You need to sort of be consistent with what you are as a channel, what you represent as a channel. And yeah, just like have fun with it, but never ever have on your screen how many views you currently got. It's just a big mistake. And I say that from a person that's had like sitting there with 40 views and getting super stressed out when I got to 100. And my stream's more than 10,000 people. So you can't get to the levels of, oh my god, like how many people watching it? Just don't, just close it away, put on the best show that you can, no matter how many people are watching, whether it's 10 people or 100 people. Just be as entertaining as you can. Or absolutely try to keep your own.
Yeah, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but you got to be in it for the right reasons, I think. If you show up on a Twitch platform, collecting donations immediately, having a very monetary style to your streams, I don't think you're going to have the quality of people you want. They're probably going to troll you, they're probably going to make your life a hell of a mess, but
True.
so my biggest advice, I get the question a lot, and I go, you know what, you cannot force somebody to like you. You're going to have to live with that. People are going to hate you,
Yep.
and a lot of that reason is because you're putting yourself out there for that, for them to make a
Welcome to the
decision
real
they like,
world.
So have that in mind, that if you're a drab, boring person, you just are. And there's ways to be better about your content when you make it.
Yeah.
But also,
I'm still learning. I try not to be boring, drab, but
leave the ego in the other room and then go over your stream and just game and talk to people and have fun. Because if you're there trying to get notoriety and you're trying to get this audience, it always comes across that way. And
Yeah.
everything that I see usually does. So to me, I never, in YouTube, to where I'm at now, I never set out there to do it. I know there are people today that say, I want to go do this. I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a streamer. Which is interesting because now it's kind of changed and it's more mainstream and it's more accepted. But when I did it, I was just literally having fun with my friends and it grew exponentially from there. So that's the biggest advice. It's just be yourself and don't clutter your screen up with all over the place, please. For the love of God, do not do that.
Yeah, I guess just echo the sentiments. I like the idea of, I don't see how many people that I want there. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. But the thing that I really
He's apologizing for sniffling. Welcome to desert.
So when you're trying to grow, get to know that person. You guys here, like, who's John Clark? Like, we have John Clark, we have Sarah
Nice analogy.
People being interested, and it shows that you care about people. And that's not interesting to you, well, don't get into Twitch. That's what I focus on, is getting to know who is behind that name. What is that name? Because it's a person, and you don't know who that person is, who they are. Get to know them.
Absolutely.
Just one more thing on that. When you're small, it helps, as Alan says, to try to connect people who are actually tuning in. So when you're kind of...
Alright, we're 5 minutes away.
So don't wait on 67, just ask this question.
I'm wondering if I could find...
Directly, you'd be amazed when the streamer actually talks to you, because you've already have powerful that is to do that.
I read How to Win Friends and Influence People around the time that I was getting Twitch, and that was actually one of the pieces of advice that stuck with me the most.
Yeah, that is Tyler.
People for saying, welcome aboard, happy Friday, it's good to see you, Will, it's good to see you, Max, and all that, but like that's exactly what I do, because it's fun to be recognized, you know, whether it's for a quick little 10 minutes at the beginning or whatever, and also like from a presentation standpoint, you know, if somebody's asking a question, you just answer it, well, what was the question? You know, blue. I don't know what that means. So it's good to read
Or
that question.
buddy streaming live on YouTube.
I would say is that everybody is interesting to somebody in some way. You have a personality trait out there that somebody will find interesting. Find that trait, have some fun with it.
Sadly.
You know, I'm lucky that I'm generally quite good at explaining things. and sort of
Okay,
working
so we're
through
close to
this.
descending.
That's why a lot of my streams is just me saying, oh, let's do it quickly.
I can't watch any more right now, unfortunately. I wish, because we have to set up our landing altitude. Which is about 291 feet. Now, you're not going to move this thing very much because it's in thousands. So I mean, there's 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. So like 2 ticks, maybe. What, 291 feet? Like 3 ticks? 3 at the most. That's all you're gonna get there. Okay, and the ground proximity warning system flaps are set to 15. And the briefing for the MSA speeds, decision height is going to be 200 feet. So I'll set DA. Where am I going? 200 feet? Okay, and what's our heading right now? Yeah, we're 2 minutes away, and we're going to actually go down to 13,000, so 13,000. And what I need to do is set the OBS real quick, and I'll show you how to do that, okay? For the final approach course. I do know that the localizer frequency is going to be 108.5. 108.5, and we'll switch it over. There we go. And also set it at number 1, even though we're not using it yet. There we go. We're 1 minute away. Watching the bar. Watch the purple bar go down. So let's see if I can do this real quick. 061 is what I need our OBS. So 097 is what we're doing right now. So I'll throw 097 in, and I'm just going to change it to heading. So that way we're following heading mode now. I'm going to change the nav source to ILS1, and we will change our course to 061. 061. Alright, nav source goes back to FMS1, and we do nav, and that's it. So now we're set up for the arrival. And the ILS. And we're just watching this bar We've still got 5.2, but it'll come down a little bit before that. So remember, there's no auto throttle on this thing, so you got to control everything. So pitch, power, and trim. Remember, PPT. That's your best friend when flying an airplane. PPT. Pitch, power, and trim. We can verify here. There's the top of the descent. 2.4 out. Radios are set. So there we go. The bar's coming down. So we're gonna do VS, and we're gonna do minus 1500. Okay. Now we're gonna pull our power back. We can set our torque around 10. 9 or 10 is fine, either one. But we want to try and get her down to about 220 knots. So, and you're basically just trying to keep the magenta bar in the middle, just like you would on any ILS landing. You know, on a landing, on an instrument approach, you're basically just keeping your vertical bar in the middle. That's it. LNAV's doing everything else for you. And you're coming down at 1,500 feet per minute, just as our target V speed, for our target vertical speed, I'm sorry. And it's showing us at negative 2.36. We're doing good, we're doing fine, coming down. The next thing I want to do is get the weather, get our altimeter set for LFPO. Before the ones were variable, now they are still variable. 050 all the way to 110, and it's 5. So winds are calm. There's few at 30,000. You know, we're fine. And altimeter is 1013. So it's about 29er, 89er. 2988, roughly. So 1013 is roughly a 29901. Alright. And we're descending just fine. We're going to reach our target speed well before we need to. Our target vertical speed. So I'll just go ahead and set 29901. And we could do like, ooh, we got lightning out in the distance. We could do like, you know, 1300. If we want to. Let's do 1200. Nice, we got a little bit of lightning out in the distance. And then the next thing we're gonna do is calculate our landing. Dun, 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 dun. Let me pull this over here. Let's do monitor number 2. And here we go. All we got to do is go to landing, airport search, LFPO, Paris Orly, runway 6, flaps got to be 35. Yes. Max, anti-icing is going to be off. Condition list is going to be dry, I think. And we'll get the weather. Yep, 29901. And we're almost to 18,000. And remember, you need your landing weight. Which is... and then we kind of calculate And okay, so then we'll go. So we got our reference speed is 116, and then our V climb is still going to be 148 if we need to have that. So that's going to be our landing speed is 116. Link this over here. Flight simulator. Close U. We do select. It's right there, and then we're just going to do 116. And that's pretty much it. Back to flight plan. And we're done with Orison. Everything is set there. I like how all that lighting's out there in the distance. So cool. Wonder if we're gonna get any icing detected. And we're really coming down a little bit too fast still, so let's go. And we'll pump our speed up just a bit around 20. Bring our speed up, our torque to 20%. How long? 2 hours and 22 minutes, wow. Now that's a tutorial, I guess, eh? And I'm sure you guys want to see the scenery as much as I do, right? Whew. Beautiful clouds. I think these clouds look a little bit better than they do even in X-Plane 11. You can hear the thunder. You can hear the lightning. I also want to settings, sound. I want to actually hear it. Let's crank it up. There we go. Always been a fan of the environment. So we have just started the standard terminal arrival. Let's crank that down just a tad, so that way we're not blowing your ears out. And 29901 set. Do need to change our heading. What are we doing there? 166. 166. Pull power back a bit. Trying to keep our vertical speed bar in the middle. Keep an eye on the weather terrain mode on the first officer side, making sure everything stays in the green. I don't want to hit a mountain as we are currently in IMC. No ice detection warning yet, so that's good. It's a great thing about the Dash 8 is you will get an ice detection warning right there. So let's see. Let's see if it's building up. It is building up, right? So now this is awesome. Now this is the grand tutorial in every tutorial. Let me also make sure I did select, if you didn't see, I don't have altitude selected. Gotta hit altitude select. There we go. Otherwise it would have just kept on going. Alright, so let's show you how to use the ice protection. Airframe mode selector goes to fast. Alright. On, and the reference speed on. That's it. It'll do its thing. If we look back, there goes all that ice. Gone, gone, gone. We're just going to leave it on. As we can see, increase speed ref. Increase ref speed is selected. And we're turning to 115.95. To Chateau Dune. Great. So we pretty much got a full tutorial on this thing. We got to see how even the ice protection works. Basically, it's all the same. It's just airframe mode selector goes to fast. All right, props go on. Engine intake doors go to on, heater, and your reference speed goes to increase. Alright, now we're leveled off, so we want to add a little power, keep it around 200. Probably about 30% is fine. Maybe 33 to 35. Actually, we're still quite a ways out. Let's keep her around 50. There's no reason to go too slow. Point slowing her down that much. Now the other thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we do hit Odillo at 11,000. So let's go next. We'll do Odillo 3, enter, 11,000, 1,500, enter. We'll do clear the message out, and we've got 6 minutes. So yeah, let's try and keep her around 220. All right, ice protection is gone. So we can go ahead and turn it off. So our reference speed increase goes off, engine intake doors are going to be closed, props go to off, and airframe mode selector goes off. And then the ice is back. Is it building up? It is on the props. So I love how it just plays with us. Alright, so once again, fast, props on, engine intake doors, the heaters come on, and the reference speed goes to increase. Alright, 230 is good, 230 is good, we can do about 45. And then the ice goes off. That's fine. Oh, see, it's cleared it off. The scenery is absolutely beautiful. I don't think I've done an actual European flight in FS10 since I started flying FS10 again. But the scenery is just absolutely captivating. So we're 4 minutes away from our next top of descent. And it's basically going to be 11,000. Altitude select. Forgot that before, didn't I? Just always make sure that's on. If you want to catch our stream this afternoon, we're going to be flying X-Plane 11. It is going to be, I believe, let me double check the time. We're doing Vancouver to San Francisco for VATSIM, for the VATSIM event. I almost forgot about that. Yeah, it's the Vancouver San Francisco Crossfire. And I'm going to be flying an A320, which I don't normally do. Usually I'm a Boeing guy. And we're going to be flying Vancouver, British Columbia to San Francisco. And that departure is going to be at 3 p.m. So I will probably start it at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Anyway, I'll be here at 2200 Zulu. How's that? Let's keep it simple. I'll be here at 2200 Zulu. Departure will be 2300 Zulu. And we will be flying out of Vancouver and heading to San Francisco. I'm going to need to get on early because I don't have the scenery for Vancouver, so I'll need to load that real quick, which probably I could download right now. I think about it. Was that CYVR? Download, see if they have it. This will save me time later. We are 1 minute from the descent. And that's X-Plane 10. X-Plane 10. See if I can do a Google search. Yeah, I know that, yeah, all they have is X-Plane 10. I could load it, and it would probably work, but it's 3 years old. I will see if the one... I'm pretty sure that the X-Plane gateway scenery is better. In fact, I'm sure it's better. Yeah, not happening. Alright, there goes the bar. So we'll do VS. Start at 1,000, we'll pull power back. Alright, we're out of the ice now, so... And no, we're not. It's back. I'm gonna wait. Let's wait and see what happens. Let's go back to flight plan. Dillo. Yeah, I'll load it up real quick. I'll load it first before and see how the scenery looks, and if not, then I'll pull this one. But anyway, I'll be here at 2200 Zulu, so in 2 hours, and we'll be taking off at 2300 Zulu and heading over to San Francisco. Leveling off. Let's go ahead and continue down to 4,000. Yeah, the ice is building up pretty good again. Alright, 15's good. Let this... Just wanted to see where I was real quick. Aha! There we go. Okay. Alright. That makes sense. Beautiful scenery. It's absolutely beautiful. And the weather. Crazy. Yep, they're fogging up over here, aren't they? They're on open. There we go, it's coming in now. As we navigate around the storms. Alright, pretty much, ooh, and there's the rain. So altimeter's set. Fuel transfer's on. Or fuel transfer's off, so I'm sorry. Fuel pumps are on. Standby hydraulic and PTU are coming on. Hydraulics are checked. And passenger signs are coming on. Caution panel is black, and then we want to do bleeds 1 and 2 off, minimum, and condition levers are coming full. And I also want to... What are we doing here? 057, 057. I want to be in heading mode now. I want to set nav source to ILS. Wait as we get further inbound to Paris and get this landing going. So basically the landing is the same thing as the departure. Bleeds are off. Alright. That was minimum. Landing lights coming on. There we go. Let's do approach. Localizer's alive. Try and keep her around 200. And the bleeds are set as minimum. And fuel pumps are on. Standby hydraulic and P2 controls are on. Condition levers are max. Weather is kicking butt. Oops. That's a beautiful shot. Holy diver. Alright, we're about to hit 400 or 4,000. There we go. Make sure we're in localizer mode. Why are you on wings level? Starting to level off, so we're gonna put in a little bit more power, and it looks like we won't need the anti-ice. Just check. Yep, flaps 5 at 200, 181 and 172. New flaps 5. We're still 17.6 out, so we're still quite a ways away, so let's try and keep her like 195. And we're still quite a ways out. Why does it keep changing? I want stay on localizer. What is up with you? What are you doing? I've never had to do that before. LS1 108.5 061 on the OBS course. Looking good, looking good. We're about ready for gear down. Oh, a bit of a speed bump there. Hold, 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 hold. Gear down, that'll help. Speedy warning. Landing flap set 35. There goes the VNav again. Localizer. It's having a hard time holding that. Let's drop our speed a little bit more. And we're 10 nautical miles out. Yep, perfect. Alright, good. So I want to be at flaps 10 right about now. Alright, climb straight ahead to 2,000 is missed approach, so we'll set our missed approach altitude. A little finicky there. There we go. Alright. Where's 181? Flaps 10. 372. There we go, flaps 15. Wait till we get to 5 nautical miles out. So landing, ice protection is as required. Landing gear is down in 3 green. Condition levers are max. Bleeds are minimum as required, and waiting on the flaps. And airport's in sight. Flips 35. Let's bring her right a little bit. Come on. There you go. Ooh. Trim has got a mind of its own. There we go. Lined up better. She's a big airport, isn't she?
One thousand.
1,000.
$500.
Sync rate. Sync rate.
Don't worry, we're fixing
Sync
it.
rate.
We're fixing it.
Sync rate. Sync rate.
30, 20, 10.
One thing I do want to change here. Where is it? Not bad, minus 177 feet per minute. Flaps. Oh, I know why. We had had to load the old lights pack. I need to update the lights on this airport. That's what it is. Okay. No biggie. I was wondering why they look like crap. But that's why. Alright, control locks on, echo lights are going to red, flaps are 0. Weather radar is standby. And PTU standby, fuel pumps come off. There we go, we got it. Okay, off. Flight is set to, spoiler is set to taxi. Ice protection is off and verified. Main bus tie is tied, and we'll go ahead and start the APU. Power, it'll do the lights test. And start. And yaw damper's coming off. Clear the message. There we go. Let's taxi back. Awesome, that was a fun flight. Good tutorial. I hope everybody was able to learn something. If you have any questions, like I said, this will be on my YouTube channel. Feel free to drop a line by. If I don't know the answer to your question, I will do my best to find the answer, of course. And we'll be back in what looks like another hour in order to do our Vancouver to San Francisco flight on a lovely Airbus A320 on X-Plane 11. But I hope you guys enjoyed this flight and the Majestic -8 Q400, as I know I did. It was really fun. It was a lot of fun. Weather was perfect. I love bad weather. I love IMC. I love when there's rain, and thunderstorms, and lightning, and clouds, and just all the fun stuff that comes with weather. Make the parking a little quick here. We'll go ahead and stop her right here. Beep beep. She's gonna scream at me for setting the brakes, of course. Alright, parking brake is on. Hydraulic pump and PTU are both normal. Power condition levers come to feather. No steering comes off. The weather is going off. Taxi light, of course, comes off. And transporter comes to standby. Leads are minimum and off. And APU is started. And condition levers now, after 30 seconds, go to fill shutoff. Fill shutoff. Gen 1 and 2 comes off. Passenger signs can come off. Lights are as required. And battery master is as required. So for full shutdown, we basically just need to make sure that radios are off. Hold down the on button. And select off. Confirm off. Anti-skid. Off. And we'll shut everything off on the overhead in the opposite way of which we turned everything on. Emergency lights are off. No smoking sign is off. Packs stay where they want to be. Recirc fan comes off. These stay where they are. Position light's gonna come off. Ignition comes off. We can turn off the lights. Pilot side window heat off. Windshield heat is off. Pitot-static and ISO valves are off. And what we'll basically do simply is generator off. We typically wait 60 seconds. Off, main bus tie is off, and then our 4 batteries go off in the opposite direction in which we turn them on. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it. We have now fully shut down the Majestic Dash 8 Q400. My name is Colin. I hope you guys love this video. I hope you guys follow, watch, ask questions. Let me know what you think. Otherwise, we'll see you back again in another hour. Although it's going to be up on my YouTube channel, Colin. You can easily find it also under Kevin1873 or just scrolling down if you're on Twitch right now and then clicking on the YouTube subscribe button will take you straight to my YouTube channel. I will catch you guys later. Have a good morning. Have a great afternoon and have a wonderful evening. And we'll catch you in the next one.